Good morning, Linda here from Huttons Valley Permaculture. I've decided to make a start in the veggie garden today. Now it's taken a long while to get to the state that it's in, so it's not going to change overnight. But bit by bit, I'm planning on getting the job done. Starting today with harvesting some of the food that it's hiding so I can get it to the kitchen for preserving. And I'm going to clear a couple of little garden beds and get some seeds planted. First up on the harvest list are beetroots. I bought these seedlings and planted them. I didn't grow the seedlings myself, just so I could get something into the ground. I'm going to harvest the large ones today and do some pickling. I'll leave a link in the description of other beetroot recipes that I've done and videoed, including a beetroot dip, some beetroot chips, and I think there was another one, so that's in the description. I will be leaving some of the smaller beetroots just to grow on a little bit further, so I won't be clearing the whole garden today. As you see here, the beetroots are grouped together. Now what happens, sometimes they all grow at the same rate. In this case, this one's grown a bit bigger than the others, so what I'll try and do is sneak that one out and leave these others to grow on a little bit further. Let's see how I go. Yep. So that's a perfect size really. And just looking at the remainder, I'll just cover where I've dug that one out and leave those to get a little bit bigger. Now these two have grown perfectly together. Easy to drag these ones out without disturbing anybody. Now this beetroot here is actually a volunteer, and that's the Chogia beetroot, which is the stripy pink and white beetroot, which is really pretty. Just over the back there, you'll notice a few little seedlings, which I might have to separate out actually. They're a golden beetroot. I did plant those seeds a little while ago, so I might thin those and spread them out. I think, and there's another small patch too that I'll have to do the same with. But again, I'll leave them with 2 or 3 seedlings clumped together. It's around 7:30 in the morning at the moment, so a perfect time to get out for harvesting in the garden before it all sort of starts to wilt with the heat of the day. Now, I'll probably just leave that one and take these 2. Oh, there's actually a little baby one hiding in there. Okay, I managed to do that. So that leaves those 2 to grow on a little bit further. And I'll just make sure I cover those over. That's probably enough for preserving for today. Now before I leave the garden this morning, I will make sure that I water these in just to make sure that the roots are all covered of the plants that have remained in the ground and ensure that they keep growing. The next veggie that I want to harvest in the garden today is the parsnip. Now I've got a patch of parsnips just here, which I'm going to leave because they're kind of quite condensed and not spread out and not much of a problem where they are. So I'll be leaving these ones. But throughout the garden, all the seeds have spread and I've got parsnips all over the place. So I'm going to be taking some of the parsnips that are more of a problem in other areas. My first problem area is this area at the front of my garden where I get my mushroom compost delivered to. Plenty of nutrients in this area, so you can't blame them for wanting to grow here. But I'd like to get this space cleared, so I've got to get my fork out and see if I can get these parsnips out. Whoa. Oh, it's like a big double one. You do have to be careful when you're getting the fork in because you do damage some of it, but I'll be able to roast out quite a bit of that one. You get all sorts of shapes though. Whoops, some you don't quite get. some aren't worth it. That's my parsnips out of that area now. All odd shapes and some kind of tiny. So even if they're too small, I'll still roast them up, and I like to make a parsnip puree, which I just put into little silicone squares, and I can grab that out of the freezer throughout the year. And it doesn't matter what size they are. You do have to keep an eye on them if you're cooking them so that you don't overdo it. But you don't go to, nothing goes to waste if you make various different recipes. Well, there you go, there's the start of our parsnip harvest. Now the other parsnips I'll be getting out are ones like this one that are in garden beds that I'd like to clear and do something else with. Sometimes they get a bit too big and gnarly, but often you can cut a bit off for roasting or cooking in some way. Look at that one. Now that one will still be great to roast. I'll probably chop it up into pieces, but the plant hadn't gone to seed yet, so it shouldn't be woody and horrible. Even though that looks pretty gnarly, it should cook up just fine. Another really nice parsnip, not as big as the other one. Lots of different sizes in the garden. A lesson I have learnt over the years with growing my own food is to not pull out too much food out of the garden before you are ready to preserve it. So I could pull out all the parsnips in the garden, but I probably won't preserve it in a timely fashion. I'll get a few more out. Along the edge of this garden I'd like to clear, and there's a couple more just in the pathway right here. So I'll get those and then call it quits with the parsnips for the moment. Oh, it's like a triple parsnip. And there's maybe just a few more just on the edge of this little path. Well, that's a nice chunky one. Three more gigantic parsnip. Lots of free food in this garden. Before I take these all inside, I'll cut the tops off and feed all of that to the chickens. With the beetroot greens, I do take that inside. Some of that can be used in a salad mix. I generally only use the smaller leaves in a salad because they're more tender. But once I've sorted it through, all the rest of this goes to the chickens as well. There you go. The other way. The last thing on my find and harvest list today are some potatoes. I was uncovering my peas the other day and half pulled up some potato plants. So I've got to get those out of the ground. There's a few nice potatoes here. They do have this like skin scab on them in this area, but I've found that that's not been an issue really in the eating. Now some of the ones that were at the surface, you can see that's green and starting to grow again, so I'll leave those out and I'll put them where I don't mind some more potatoes to grow. Let's see if we've finished harvesting. I think that's probably most of them. Oh, hang on. Here's another one. It's another one. Oh, and another one. I reckon that's the seed potato. All right, well that's not a bad haul. Some of these larger ones are perfect. What I like to do is chop them up into chip size, parboil them, and then freeze them. And then it's really easy throughout the year to grab some potatoes out and enjoy it. Another thing I like to do is just, you know, some of the ones that aren't great for the chip size, like that one maybe, you just halve and parboil that after peeling, and that'll make a great roast potato to drag out and just quickly put into the oven to crisp up. Oh, might need another container. They keep falling out. Another area I'm going to clear potatoes from is just here, which is under my arch trellis, which isn't being utilised very well at the moment. It's growing some beautiful flowers, but as you can see, there's lots of plants that have finished off or are in the middle of flowering, but I've got lots of those around other areas of the garden. So my plan today is to clear both sides of this trellis, and I'll plant different types of beans on each side. So I'll start by pulling potatoes out, and then I'll get to clearing the rest of the garden. You can tell this area of the garden's a lot drier. That's it for this potato plant. But this healthier looking plant, it's growing out of the actual path. So we might find a few more here. Oh, there's a couple of decent ones at least. And that's about all for the second plant, which I don't mind too much because I got plenty from the other area. And that one's starting to go green, so I'll probably just leave it and get it growing again. And now with that potential food out of the way, I can get to clearing the rest of these plants. I'm just going to pile up all the plants that I pull out and decide what I'll do with it. I have been putting a lot in the chicken coop just to give them plenty of sort of bedding around the area. But a lot of this stuff could be broken up and used as mulch, or it could go to the compost, but my bins aren't in great shape at the moment. Oh, a lot of these grasses have to be pulled out by the roots, but some of these other plants I could probably leave the roots just in the ground. Oh. Well, it doesn't take too long to get an area cleared for planting. You've just got to choose to do it. So let's get some beans in. Now this side, I've got some purple king beans, which should still be okay from 2024. So let's get those ones in here. Oh, I think I've got a hole in the bag. I am putting in quite a few in this area. If they all start to grow, well, I can thin them out, but at least this allows for any sort of fails. And on the other side, I've got a Ukrainian bean, which is a really lovely little eating bean. It's sort of like a butter bean, really delicious actually. Now, one thing that you might notice here is how dry and light the soil is. I think it's really missed out on some TLC during the year and some added mulch in the form of compost or just even sort of green waste on top, just to help keep the moisture and keep something organic on the soil. So pretty soon I'll have to add some compost to all these gardens. Oh, can't even dig it in. So those 2 garden beds are cleared and some bean seeds planted. Hopefully they'll be taking over this arch before long. Whew. Well, it's just after 9 now and the day is starting to warm up. It's going to be another hot one. So it's been nice to get out early to get some harvesting done and get a garden cleared and planted. Maybe if I just make a habit of doing that each day, I would get on top of this garden. But anyway, we've got a small section done. I'm going to water these in as well as the beetroot before heading in for the afternoon to do some preserving. Check out the description for video links to some of the preserving I've done in the past, and I'll also link to the recipes that I do today. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.